What's up, Facebook? What up, brothers? Welcome to Tuesday Thoughts with Mike, your mentor, and a special guest appearance by Barry the Bunny. So, if you're new to this page, welcome. I started this page because for a lot of reasons, but one of the main reasons is a lot of men are just they're committing suicide. To be honest with you, they're dying physically and they're dying emotionally inside. Because men tend to lead quiet lives of desperation because we feel like we got to wear these masks everywhere we go, right? We have the job mask, we got the church mask, we got the friends mask, we got the gym mask, right? There's a real lack of authenticity and vulnerability for men in the world, and that just creates confusion for men and loneliness and isolation and chaos, right? We wreck our families. We wreck the world around us. I mean, turn on the news and you can see what the lack of honor and responsibility for men has created. We wreck our communities. We wreck our kids. So I wanted to do something about that because I came from a chaotic childhood and I had a lot of crazy life experiences. If you're watching this channel, you know about some of those, and you'll learn about more as we go along here. But yeah, well, the two biggest things that made a difference in my life were the grace of God, and I had mentors. I had mentors in books that I would read and glean from, right? Learn how these people went through horrible situations or life challenging situations, and they were able to come out on the other side and do something with their lives. And that gave me hope, right? That gave me inspiration. It got me out of the state of mind that I was in, that I didn't have any type of control over my life, or that I didn't have any choices, when it's exactly the opposite. I did have choices to make every single day about what I was going to do to improve my life and live my life. And then the second thing was I had mentors um, that were in my life on a regular basis, other men that saw great things in me and wouldn't let me fall by the wayside. They sowed into me. They let me be a part of their families and watch them interact with their kids and with their wives, right, and with other men. And I was like a sponge. I just soaked all that stuff up. I was always watching everything they did and everything they said, primarily because I wanted to see if their actions lined up with their words. And I just, not having a dad growing up, I wanted to be the best dad and the best husband that I could be. So I thought that in order to do that, I needed to watch the men that I thought emulated those characteristics and traits, and watched what they did, and tried to copy those things. So tonight's Tuesday Thoughts a little bit easier for me to do, right? So we talk about a topic, and tonight's topic is, how do you treat your spouse because your kids are watching? And I guess it's a twofold question. One, the first part's rhetorical. You got to answer that for yourself, is how are you treating your spouse? But two, which is probably equally as important and maybe more important, depending, is, what are your kids learning from you as they watch you and your spouse interact? I like this little quote I'm going to share with you guys. It's not 100% accurate all the time, but it's a good reminder that what you live in your house, your kids will live out in their lives, right? So um, they are products of their environment. Not 100%, but the way that they're going to act when they're grown ups, the way that they're going to handle stress, that they're going to deal with crisis, is going to be a direct reflection of what went on in your house and the environment you created, and the way that they not only look for their future spouse, but they determine to treat that spouse, is going to be direct in proportion to how they see you treating your significant other. So this isn't really tonight's purpose isn't really to, I guess, lecture you, and I hope that I'm really never doing that, but to help you take pause in your life and in your relationships and take stock and really get clear about what you want those relationships to look like, and then be able to come alongside you and ask you hard questions that you need to think about, that will challenge you and bring you to a new level in those relationships. So, to get started, a general question would be, right, how should a husband treat his wife? Now, you're going to get different answers depending on which the spectrum that you fall. Maybe in terms of women's rights these days. Maybe in terms of if you're, liberal or conservative in your beliefs around society. To be honest with you, I don't know what the right answer is. Right. So the way that I approach this is I try to treat my wife. I'm not always perfect in this endeavor, but I try to treat my wife in the way that I want to be treated. So, um, going out of my way for her, doing little things. I'll give you an example. My wife likes this banana orange juice concoction from the store, right? So whenever I go to the store, even if she didn't ask for it, I think of that and I get it for her, because I know it's just a little thing that'll make her day and make her happy. And trust me, I piss my wife off a lot. So I'm definitely not perfect. We have the things that we have to work through each and every day. But right, like it all goes back to this is like, how do I want to treat her? And not only because it's beneficial to me, but it's beneficial to my children. I remember when we first got married and our son was living with us, and um, we would, snuggle and we would be affectionate. And, like any kid, he'd be like, blah, that's nasty. Like, mom and dad, stop kissing, And even though he might not have liked that when he was little, I'm sure that's going to have a big, profound effect on him when he's older. I know men who they never saw their parents be affectionate, and now in their own marriages, they find it one of two ways, right? Either they find it hard to be affectionate and express themselves on a deeper level, or they're the complete opposite, which you tend to skew one or two of those ways. The next question I would want to ask you is, what conversations will your kids hear at the bottom of the stairs, right? Like, think back on your own childhood, and what did you, when you were supposed to be upstairs in bed, right, laying down, and mom and dad were downstairs, um, talking, what did you hear them talk about? And how did they talk about those things? Did they talk about finances? Did they talk about work? Did they talk about their relationship? What did that look like? Were they arguing all the time? Were they talking to each other in a respectable way? How did they work through the challenges that came up? Did one of them kick and scream and yell and go crazy? Or did one of them, approach it from a mature angle and try to work through it? Or maybe you grew up in a house that was complete chaos, and both your parents, it was World War III. Anytime anything challenging came up, and they screamed and shouted, or maybe sometimes one of the parents got physical. These are all things that you need to think about, whether you're a new parent or you've been a parent for a while, because you're making that impression on your kids. And it's good that I'm sharing this tonight and just talking about this, right? Because it helps keep me accountable too, for the way that I'm talking to my wife, in the way that we're handling our conflicts in front of our kids. I'm a firm believer that your kids should see you discuss things, argue, learn how to deal with conflict. That's my own opinion. Some people, they don't ever let their kids see them fight. Maybe they go outside, maybe they go out in the car, maybe they go for a walk, however they handle it. Obviously you got to think about what's right for you and your family according to your beliefs. But the point is if you don't ever think about these things and you just react all the time, right, and you don't have a plan, before you know it, your kids are going to be gone and out of your house, and you know they're going to be reflecting back on their lives at one point, and they're going to say, what did my parents sow into me? What did they teach me about treating, the opposite sex or their significant other? And I hope that when my kids get to that age and they reflect back on that, they think of positive things. And it's not always going to be 100% positive, because we all have woundedness, and we all cause woundedness in some way in our kids. But I hope that how would I say this? I hope that there's that I've given them or invested in them a lot more positive things than the negative things, and I've given them the tools that they need to live life to the fullest, and take advantage of everything that they've been given or that they have at their disposal, right? And that goes back to the attitude that's prevalent also in the house that you and your significant other portray. Do you have a victim mentality that the whole world's out to get you, and anytime something bad happens, like it was a conspiracy against you, or it was anytime that something comes up about somebody said something about you, you automatically assume the worst, and you make all these assumptions without having the rest of the information. Those things are things that your kid's going to remember. I remember conversations my mom would have about certain people. I remember conversations my grandpa and grandma had about certain people, and the way that they approach those conversations, and those things that happen in life. So that's it for tonight. Just short, simple, and sweet. So I really hope that you give thought to this, right, and how you're treating your spouse and your significant other, and the way that that's going to impact your kids when they're older, right? Because we're all a product some way or somehow of the environment we grew up as children. And I gotta assume that if you're watching these videos, you want the best for your children. So get with your wife, get with her, and ask her these questions and have a discussion about it, maybe over a simple lunch date or something, and really give pause and thought to what you want your household to look like. Because if you don't, it's just a law of nature, right? Entropy. It's just gonna default to the lowest common denominator, and into chaos will creep in. So I love you guys. I appreciate you tuning into this video. If you feel that this type of stuff is worthy for other guys to get a hold of and to think about, please share my videos. Please like my page, and we will, me and Barry will bid you adieu for tonight, and we'll see you tomorrow for Wednesday Wisdom. Love you, brothers. Have a good night.